Hello, YouTube people. How are you? Let me roll it around so you can actually see me. Hey, it's Dixie Rose, and it is the 30th of October. It's another Wednesday night, and I'm here at Teddy's Juke Joint, where I have been every Wednesday night for the last 15 years, playing from 7 to 9. And tonight we have another slow night, and so I figured we should just do another interview of Teddy because he's awfully interesting to talk to. And it's been my experience that when the elders pass, what passes with them are the stories they have to tell. And I think that is a loss of, there's no way to put a value on it. So anyway, I want to keep doing these like interviews just because it's fun. Okay. All right. This is Teddy. He's also known as Lloyd Johnson.
Well, good evening. How you all doing out there? So glad to be back with you again on a Wednesday night, right here at Teddy's Juke Joint with the lovely Dixie Rose.
Thank you. And so, Teddy, when did you come up with the idea of starting a juke joint?
Well, I was spinning records, being a DJ, and everybody started saying, "Why don't you open up your own place?" And so I gave it a little thought. Then I said, "Oh no, I don't want to be bothered." Then it came to me, well, you can do a lot of things that you want to do if you had your own place that you can't do at other people's places. And there were so many people opening and closing until it was just getting out of hand.
When was that?
That was back in 1978, 77, in the early 80s.
Okay, well, what was going on? I know that when it got to the mid-80s, we had the savings and loan crisis. And we had like all 5,000 families a month leaving Baton Rouge. So what was going on in the mid-70s?
Well,
77, you said?
Yeah, 77, it was booming in 77.
Yeah.
But it started slowing down, and what happened, people that started to open up places in the late 70s, for some reason they just couldn't last over a year or two. And
why?
because a lot of it was bad management.
Okay.
And on top of the bad management, they didn't have the money to get different acts in to do different things that they should have done.
Well, acts were pretty expensive to hire back then, weren't they?
Well, no, they wasn't really too high. They're about the same thing they is now, because things are real slow now.
Wait. You mean that the same rate for bands back in 1977 is the same as it is right now in 2019? Hadn't gone up?
They're not the same rate. What it is, the way the economy grown, it made them have to go up, but you still was getting the same money. See, in music, the blues man never made over 5% of all the money in music.
Okay.
And now they make less than 1%.
Oh.
And that's been like that for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
That's means so many of your artists die broke.
Yeah, they do. I thought that was bad management.
No, it wasn't really bad management. It was like their royalties and stuff like that. 90% of them don't even receive none of their royalty money.
Yes, I know.
And it's just the way the system was set up. And the people just didn't understand what was going on in most cases. Some of the cases they would sign with these companies, and when they signed with these companies, they signed away all their rights and didn't know it.
Well, there weren't any music attorneys back then, were there?
Well, there was a few out there, but they wasn't like there is now.
I wouldn't say there's a lot of them now.
Well, it was just your record labels, they had attorneys.
But they had record labels. They had attorneys to take care of them. They didn't have lawyers to take care of the artists.
Right, it wasn't for the artists.
Okay.
And they just got left out.
Okay.
And the same thing in the small businessman is they didn't have right representation.
Representation?
Yeah,
Okay.
to do a lot of things that they should have did, and a lot of the stuff they didn't know how to do or when to do it.
Such as?
Such as your taxes, for instance. You know, your monthly reports. And the average person, they had no idea what was going on with the taxes, because you have to pay from the federal government level all the way down to your local town and city level.
And if they had only been an employee, they wouldn't know about the taxes that the employer has to pay.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
And most people that ran places like this, they had a day job,
Okay.
and they really didn't have time to know a whole lot about the business. Because basically most of them was just open on Fridays and Saturday nights.
Okay. So how did you learn about the business?
Well, I learned about the business because I was lucky enough to be an owner.
Okay.
See, I own the building, the land, and the business.
Okay.
See, people renting and leasing don't have that opportunity because they don't have contracts. They just have a word of mouth.
Okay.
And when they started doing good, somebody come along with more money, the landlord put them out and put somebody else in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And a lot of that happened.
Yeah, I know. I have heard that Tabby Thomas, with the Blues Box and Heritage Hall that was on North Boulevard
Right.
in Louisiana. I thought he owned that piece of that piece of the building. Okay.
Right.
And then when they put the new overpass through there, then I heard that Tabby was only renting it, and he was renting it for like $100 a month.
Right.
So when they paid the owner of the building for the loss of the use of the building, the owner got that money and Tabby got none of it.
Right. That's the way it went, because see, Tabby just had a rental agreement,
Right.
and that had nothing to do with the business itself. And the landlord that owned the building had all the rights. So we didn't have to consult Tabby at all. Just told him, well, I done sold out,
Yeah.
and you got to move.
Okay. Okay.
And basically that's the way it did when they put the interstate in, and it crossed over, it ends here on 61.
Okay.
And so what they did, they made like a loop, and they killed all the businesses from Scotlandville to down to South Baton Rouge.
Yes, they did.
See, in the interstate that did that. You see what I'm saying? Now they did the same thing in New Orleans. And with the interstate, what they did, they went over the people.
Okay.
And the ones that didn't go over, it went round.
Oh.
And they did that in a lot of towns, and that killed all your little local juke joints and small businesses.
Yeah, I bet it did. Okay. So you were an owner. Your family owned this land for a couple of generations, right?
Right.
So y'all, I'm assuming that your mom, your grandma, talked to you about what was going on in taxes and stuff like this to give you a heads up, because you were going to come into.
Right. But what happened when I got ready to open up the business? I had to have an acre of the land cut out of 36 acres.
Okay.
And make it commercial.
All right.
So that's what took me so long to open up the business. It took me 2 years just to get the building in shape and the laws and different things to pass where I could open up. And that made me know a whole lot about how to proceed in business, that I thought I could just open up and get a license. At one time, I didn't know you had to have a license. You see what I'm saying? And by the time I went through the license process and stuff like that, more and more things started coming up. And so that gave me a big knowledge, because I was talking to other people that was in business, but they was only renting, and half of them didn't even know who they was paying the rent to. They never did know who the building actually belonged to.
Okay. And so a lot of that knowledge that was spread by word of mouth, because people talk, people teach each other how to do stuff.
Right.
can't teach each other if you don't know.
Right. Well, it's hard to get much knowledge on a Friday and Saturday night because all your government buildings is closed.
Yeah.
And half of the people, they didn't realize, they didn't know they had to pay taxes, but they would come to you and you knew somebody that could take care of that part of the business and got it done. And all they had to do was sign their name.
Okay.
And that messed up a lot of people simply by not knowing. They had no idea. It was just like daylight and dark, that they had no idea what was really going on.
Wow. So that was 77, 78, what year?
77, well, 1977. I started in 76, and I didn't get over until 1978.
Oh.
It took me just that long
Hello.
to get the business going where it's supposed to be.
They're interviewing Teddy.
And so, and it was, with me, I learned more by opening up Teddy's than I did in school. But, in school, I'm glad I finished high school and I took general business in school. And that's how I got my first bank account, through general business class.
Okay.
And that's another thing. A lot of people that operated the business back, before the 70s, they didn't have no bank accounts and stuff. They didn't write checks for nothing because everything was cash.
Yeah.
And then as more people started getting in business and then these chains started coming up, it made it hard for the small businessman. It's like the Juke Joints and your mom and pop stores and stuff like that. And this is what people don't realize, that a lot of people didn't even know, and some of them stayed in business 20 years and they had no idea how the business really worked. They would always see and say, go to the jukebox man, the pool table man,
Okay.
or go talk to Mr. Calandro, or whoever owned the building, or whoever was representing who owned the building.
Right.
It's just like most people with housing authority. They have no idea that they're supposed to have Social Security number, birth certificate, general things like most people think they should have. Because if they're on the welfare people put all that together for them.
Okay.
See?
Well, you want to quit the interview so you can go tend the bar?
Well, yeah, I guess I better because they're getting a little restless.
Oh, they came in restless.
Yeah.
They came in ready to play music.
But it's nice interviewing with you again, Dixon.
Thank you.
Hope we'll do it again
Thank you.
sometime.
When did you marry Nancy? What year was that? I'm just trying to put it.
Well, I don't really know what year, but I know we've been married for 41 years.
Okay.
So I had to do the math. Had to do the math. Yeah.
No, not in my head.
Yeah.
No.
But that,
Can't help you.
yeah, I forgot exactly what year it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might have been an 8 there, and 4 from 9, 5.
Well, me and Nancy got married. It was in the 70s,
Okay.
late 70s, like 79 or 80 at the latest.
So you had this place open?
Yes, I opened the place up in 1978,
Right,
but I went through the 2-year process getting it open.
right. And then somewhere in there after that you married Nancy.
Right.
So you went up to New York to meet her?
No, she came down. She had finished college and she was with a group you call Vista,
Okay.
and it was like a Peace Corps.
Right.
And I met her because she happened to be working down at a place she called LTI.
Oh.
And I actually met her because she had an old car she wanted to sell. And I went and looked at the old car and ended up buying it.
Okay.
What happened, my mother was telling me that the nurse had a cause. Nancy was a retired nurse. She's nursed then. And had a whole lot to do with integration.
Okay.
Because LTI didn't have no white people working in it at that time.
Oh.
See?
Now, LTI is Louisiana Training Institute.
Right.
Or what you would call juvie jail, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It was for the kids who had been sentenced to jail. Actually.
Right. Stuff like that. Yeah.
But they were
But see, when the
underage.
place first started out, it didn't start out like that. It started out as a family place that if a lady lost her husband in a car wreck or something, and she had nowhere to go, she would bring the whole family there.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and they also had a public school in there
Okay.
where you can go start at first grade and graduate in 12th grade.
Okay.
And it was vice versa, and the Blunden home spin off from that place.
Okay.
And so as the federal government and the Louisiana state government got into it and started getting federal grants and stuff like that, it ended up being up under the prison system.
Oh. Was it under the prison system when Nancy was
Yes,
there
it
as
was.
a Vista
Yes, it was.
volunteer?
Well, not totally,
Okay.
just partly.
Okay.
So it was getting some state money and stuff, but it wasn't up under the actually coats and stuff the way it is now.
Well, so who did the pursuing, you or Nancy?
Well, it was just one of those things that we just got together.
Okay.
You know, I went to buy the old car and I bought the old car and I told her about what I was doing about opening up the nightclub. She said, well, when you ever get it open up, I'll come help you out.
Oh, okay.
Because she didn't know nothing about a Juke Joint.
Okay.
And so basically, that's the way we got together.
And so 40 some odd years later, she's still working here?
Yeah, she's still working here.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, see, we've been together 45 years.
Okay. Okay.
But we've been married 41 years.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm out of questions to ask.
Well, okay, so I'll talk to you the next time.
I guess you will.
Yeah.
I'll see you. I'll see you next Wednesday.
All right, and I'll
Okay.
see you next Wednesday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.